Your brain does something strange. It forgets most of the good moments from your day, but it keeps a perfect replay of the awkward ones. Hours later, when the lights are off and the room is quiet, one small moment suddenly returns. Something slightly awkward, you said, a joke that landed wrong, a pause that lasted half a second too long. The rest of the day disappears, but that one moment, it comes back with full clarity. Your brain rewinds it, replays it, examines it from every angle. And the strange part is this: at the time, the moment barely mattered, but at night, it suddenly feels important.
Most days are uneventful. Conversations go normally. People move on quickly. Small, awkward moments pass without anyone noticing. Yet later, your brain behaves as if one minor social misstep deserves a full investigation. Why would a mind designed to help you move forward suddenly lock on to something trivial? Why does the brain keep replaying the moment you said something slightly wrong while ignoring everything that went perfectly fine?
Your brain doesn't treat all information equally. It gives extra weight to potential problems. A small social mistake gets tagged as something worth remembering, not because it was dramatic, because it might contain a threat. For most of human history, overlooking a possible problem carried a higher cost than dwelling on one too long. So the brain quietly learned a rule: good events are pleasant. Possible mistakes are unfinished business. Once a moment gets flagged that way, the brain starts circling it. Did you say something wrong? Did someone react strangely? Did you damage how people see you without realizing it? The brain isn't trying to embarrass you, it's trying to debug the situation. But that is the trap. The more the brain rechecks the moment, the more important the moment begins to feel. It starts in ordinary interactions. You're talking to someone at work or school. You say something slightly awkward. Maybe you interrupt at the wrong moment. The conversation moves on instantly. But hours later, your brain replays the moment as if it was the defining event of the interaction. In reality, the other person probably forgot it within seconds. Your brain didn't. Then the same glitch scales outward. On social media, negative moments spread faster because they stick harder. One awkward clip, one bad take, one sentence pulled out of context. Thousands of people lock onto it at once, not because it is the most accurate thing about the person or the situation, because negative information feels more urgent, more revealing, and more worth passing along. At that scale, the bias stops being a private annoyance. It becomes a public amplifier. And then it shapes the room itself. Picture a meeting where someone says something slightly off. Most people barely react, but the speaker leaves the room convinced they damaged their credibility. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is busy replaying their own moments. Everyone assumes their small mistakes were more visible than they really were. So an entire room can be filled with people quietly haunted by moments that barely registered to anyone else. The system behind this has a simple purpose. It exists to help you learn from mistakes. Remember the moment, study it, avoid repeating it. From a survival perspective, that rule made sense. If a social mistake damaged trust in a small group, remembering it could help you avoid real consequences later. But the shortcut has a flaw. The brain does not measure the true importance of the moment. It measures the chance that something went wrong. And that means small events get promoted to high priority. A sentence that came out slightly wrong, a reaction you can't fully read, a pause that probably meant nothing. The brain treats them like open tabs, and some people end up mentally refreshing them all night. That is the irony. The mind is trying to protect your social position by trapping you inside scenes that were often too small to matter. The people who are most sensitive to nuance often suffer the longest from it, and the brain ends up rewarding social vigilance with unnecessary self-torment. So, when you're lying awake replaying something awkward from earlier in the day, it probably wasn't the defining moment your brain is treating it as. It was just the one moment your mind decided to flag. Out of dozens of conversations, dozens of normal interactions, and countless moments that passed without consequence, your brain picked the one possible mistake and gave it priority. Not because it mattered most, because the mind is built to hold on to possible problems harder than ordinary reality. Which means the scene your brain keeps replaying at night is rarely the truest part of the day. It's just the part your brain refused to close. Once you notice this pattern, those moments feel a little less real and a little more like your brain running a loop, and you'll probably start noticing it the next time it happens.